So good morning and welcome to everyone. See, you are not bashful about getting your plates and diving in, and that is a wonderful thing to see. If you'll notice, most have already logged into the online polling because what you see is a word cloud here, and of course we just wanted to start off with an easy question for you. Excuse me. One or two words of how we're feeling. So great to see we're feeling grateful, thankful, happy, good, tired as we all can be, relaxed. Not gonna repeat everyone that made it up there, but but I would say for the most part, looks like everyone's doing great, and we are doing great and feeling great to have so many joining us today. So what we're going to do is, obviously what we are kicking off today is our season of giving, and be a lot of activities over the next coming weeks and couple of months leading up to Giving Sunday. But what we wanted to do today is just have the opportunity to fellowship, provide some fun in the form of this online polling. What we're going to do within the polling is one, do a little church history, educate you on some of the great work of our ministries over this past year, and then also ask you some questions that challenge you to think about how and where you can get more involved over the coming year. So let's go on and look at our next question and dive in. And here's a little history for us. So let's see, jump on your phones and make your selection on what you think was the name of the parish that we merged with back in 1969, 55 years ago. Let's see what our responses are. How are we with our, look at that. Excellent, St. James is correct. 1968 is when it was first suggested and then came in. If you've never noticed, their original cornerstone is there at the fellowship hall as we come in the door there. And if we do this again, then we'll get those folks with St. Mark, St. John's. You'll know the answer next time. So let's look at our next one. What used to be on the grounds of All Saints prior to this parish being built? What do you think? Back then, that was country. That was out in the country back in the day. So let's see. Folks thought a farm, but actually an old golf course. It was the original country club here, hence the name of the road, if you hadn't realized, right beside the parish is Country Club. So a little history, let's dig a little deeper here. Let's think about a couple of things that we are most thankful for about All Saints. We think about how fortunate we are here in our parish. What are some of the thoughts and words that pop to mind? Service, church family, friends, the people, EYC, our music programs, the community that we have here. The clergy, the people, the inclusion, everyone is welcome, our advocacy. You know what? Every one of those things, either individually or as a collective whole, we should be thankful for, that we are so blessed to have this type of congregation here within the community that we live, and gives us the opportunity to be so engaged with a fellow group of believers here. Let's see what our next question is. Lost our overhead. So when we think about how grateful for what we just looked at and expressed, then in turn we're asked and really commanded by God to give back then of those resources and of all those blessings. So what motivates you personally from a giving perspective? Supporting the mission of our church, gratitude to God, caring for others, just the habit and discipline of tithing. Again, at the end of the day, no wrong answer. It is what motivates you personally for your family. But at the end of the day, it's supporting God's mission and the mission of our parish here. Let's look at our next one. In one or two words, All Saints Episcopal Church is. What stands out most to you in your mind when you think about All Saints and what we mean to individually, our family, and to our communities? And again, if you think about a word cloud, whatever is being said the most is going to be the bigger one. So how awesome for us to think about loving, accepting, welcoming is what we think of and what All Saints means to us. And I think at the end of the day, that's, again, what God and Jesus asked for us to be doing as we take the church out to the world. Let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I?
Yes. For the kids, if you're done eating, we can go ahead and join Miss Tiffany, and she's going to bring them out and still do Sunday school here. So if you're at that point of transition, we can go ahead and move on. Thank you, Tiffany. Right out here. All right. So a question around just our individual service commitments. How often are we volunteering our time? Cut off a little bit. It looks like actually from a percentage standpoint, weekly, few times a year. We thank you for whatever frequency that is, because it cannot get done individually. It can't get done by one or two individuals. When we think about this time and season of giving, let's keep in mind that yes, there's the financial component of it, but there's also literally just the time and your talents that you can bring and leverage through our church. So we just ask that over the next couple of weeks you prayerfully consider not only how you can support the church's work from a financial perspective, but I think as important, what are the things that you can bring from a time, skill, and talent perspective and be able to bring. Debbie, yes. That's Debbie, wonderful comment here, and we are recording, so that's why I'm going to bring this over and let you highlight.
We have the Ministry Expo coming up in, 2 weeks? 2 weeks. So people who are looking for a place that they can fit in terms of how they can connect and give their time and talents, come look at the Ministry Expo and see all of the opportunities there are to give and plug in.
Debbie, thank you so much. And again, that's, if you haven't picked up on the idea, communication not only is important, but is going to continue to be a point of emphasis for us. Because a lot of times the busy lives that we all lead, yes, we have we've got the realm, we have the weekly word, we've got calling trees and text and emails that we can do, but we want to really do a good job as a church family just in keeping us all up to date on all the opportunities that are out there, because I don't think anybody doesn't have some place, somewhere within your heart that you want to give back and want to be able to help. We just need to make sure that everybody is aware of all those opportunities and that you know the channels to how to get engaged. So thank you for bringing that up, Debbie. Let's look at the next polling question. Now this gets into some of the wonderful ministries and services we already provide here at All Saints. And I don't think that anybody doesn't know that we have the preschool, Lockhart. But how many children do you think we're serving today on a daily basis? Tremendous need in our community is preschool services, not only for the children themselves, but to enable the families to be able to stay gainfully employed. You're almost dead on. The number, I believe today, is 56 or 57. The wonderful thing is, I love to see that we thought even more, because we do have capacity, and I think we've got the banner at the street talking about the opportunity there. But how wonderful for us as a parish to be able to provide a truly desperate need for our community and still have capacity there. Let's see the next one. What best describes your financial giving for yourself, for your family? This is more just a question that will pop up and show what. So for the greatest majority, recurring monthly, quarterly, or annual gifts, again, we thank you so much for it in whatever way, shape, or form. Melissa.
One of the things that I love about Realm is I can set up a certain amount that goes to All Saints monthly. I don't have to think about it. It just goes. And if you ever have any questions about how to do that to yourself, so you don't have to worry about it, there's lots of people who can help you do that. But it's just such a simple thing, and I love it.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And actually, what a wonderful segue, because you're going to see this pop up as the many different channels that we have to leverage in terms of giving. So thank you for all. Truly, the work that we do as a congregation, as a parish, can't be done without us. And at the end of the day, we are the church, so us supporting those efforts and activities are mission critical. Let's see the next one. So let's think about now, in this question, some of the things that we ought to be doing or we feel compelled to do more at All Saints. It can be for the benefit of our parishioners. It could be the benefit of guests and those joining us that aren't members yet, whatever it may be. And I'll tell you what's great is last year, and we will do this again more formally in our surveying, but the vestry utilized the surveys from last year really to prioritize a lot of the efforts and initiatives for All Saints in 2025 based off of your feedback. So enter some of those. We will take these and put that in the database, but again, and we'll talk about as we wrap up kind of what to expect and next steps of our giving campaign. But a piece of this will be that survey process again, that we really want your honest feedback so that we can collectively prioritize what we want to focus on in the coming year. Big focus, look how much, so remember word clouds, what is bigger ends up being what's been voted on the most. Strong newcomer programs, continuing to build children programs, outreach. Amen, because every bit of that, one, we have got wonderful traction in those areas, but again, I think we're all called by God to have this focus. So what's wonderful is if we see that as something we are desiring to do, then it's just a matter of getting the teams together and feet on the ground, and we know we will have a big impact. Let's look at the next. Okay. So continuing with the focus that we desire for All Saints, how about 3 areas where we could better serve our community at large in the coming year? That could be a doubling down of efforts already that we're seeing getting some wonderful traction. It could be something you individually feel God calling us to do, and it's just a matter of, again, coming together and leveraging our collective resources. Food bank, mental health education, such a tremendous need for our community. Brian, are you lonely? All right. Okay. Brian feels left out. If you don't know Brian well, he's having to sit over there by himself, driving the AV instead of here. Grow toward the saints. Yeah, think about that. For the impact that we had, 13 years of that, and had our best, fundraising ever. So we tell we've got some momentum there, and it has and we've got a fun question that we're going to get to just on the impact, not only from a monetary perspective but from a food distribution perspective for Tour de Saints. Every one of those are wonderful, and I think all things that we need to collectively, again, you'll have the opportunity to share in greater detail that community outreach that we want to focus on as a parish in the more formal survey that you'll get in the mail, or you'll be able to go out to the website to get. Today we just wanted to kind of stretch our wings some in thinking about, again, the blessings we've had, understanding what's going on today, and then ultimately helping collectively us to be able to really point our compass in the coming year. Let's go on to the next one. Generally speaking, how do we support ourselves? Which of those do you think drives our ability to have wonderful facilities like this, to be able to support our youth programs? Not that all of them aren't important, but can't overemphasize how much it really boils down to. This is our church. We need to support our own parish. Now, we will have opportunities that part of our overall stewardship efforts around legacy giving, helping with endowments. Not all of those are vehicles to be able to support our work here. But at the end of the day, it's monthly, weekly, annual giving that we do collectively as a parish that really enables us to take our ministry internally and then out to the world. Let's look at the next. Now this is a fun one. So think about, so Joy Marie shared that we set a record in terms of financially what we were able to accomplish. Another piece of that is all those riders, and then everybody involved also brings food for distribution. Some good guesses here. Guess what? Everybody's right, because what each one of those equal is 77 tons. 77 tons of food that Tour de Saints has collectively gathered since it began, and then ultimately distributed out to those in need. That's tremendous. Some people think, you think of what can our little church do? Well, we are a piece of the universal church. And I would put that up against anyone, as that's huge impact. So we need to be proud of that, and let's just find the other ways that we can have that kind of impact in God's world. Let's go on to the next. What are all the ways we've got that we try to, we're pretty hip here at All Saints. We've gotten with the times, high tech. And at the end of the day, yep, we've made it easy, so all of the above. Now, here's the real test. Now, if you know it, you can put your name in to show that you know it, or you could be anonymous if you're really guessing. What's our mission? Let's see. Yay, effective communication historically for all of us here. But think about that. Have you ever taken the time, and again, we're so busy, but and I know, folks are used to mission statements and all, but I have seen since myself and my family have joined All Saints that we really do our best to live out that mission. So part of that is becoming disciples ourselves, then being able to go out to our communities and making disciples of others. And there's a lot to that. It's continuous, is what we're doing here today. It's supporting our parish through our gifts of time and our finances and everything else that we have that we've been blessed with, that it helps enable that. All right, next. So we went from mission statement to vision statement. %100% right. Excellent. How about that last one? So we have some comedians here when we were putting this together. Absolutely, to be a church that loves like God loves. And we know that can be a challenge. We know that can be a challenge to be an individual, much less collectively our entire church, but that's why we want to aspire big. We want to stretch ourselves in what we try to do. Now it's just the opportunity to indicate, and it may be something else. We just wanted to throw one kind of awareness of just all the different things that are out there where you can get engaged. And you know what? The great thing is, if it's not there, there's nothing stopping you or some friends or your family to say, God's calling me, I feel, to help in this way. Bring that to the church, bring it to the vestry, and let's figure out if that's a ministry of one or if that's a ministry of 30, because that's how many people also share that common drive. Gardens and grounds. So Mark, you're getting some extra hands here, and I know Chuck's going to want to know the names. I will tell you. So my wife Sarah and I, for greeting newcomers, and we just kind of meshed that in with being ushers too. One of the best experiences for us, because there we are, being the faces as folks come, and you get to know people better. I think even more importantly, you get to realize, okay, here's somebody new, and we are called to be welcoming. So it's kind of like, if we're going to live up to it, we better do it right here as folks are coming in. And we pray that has an impact on visitors as they're coming in. But I would tell you, at the end of the day, you pray to God and figure out where He's calling you to get engaged. Wherever that is, there is a need, I promise you. And if you've done that through a process of discernment with God, then it will be so much more of a blessing than any amount of fear or stress that you had that was possibly holding you back from doing it to begin with. All right, let's get time for one more. And actually, we're going to do two more, because this is such a a wonderful story here. How many children and youth now attend Sunday school and EYC, the Sunday evening program? Just give you a guess there. That's the way this one's coded, is just throw your number in there and we'll see. 15, 30, 25, 28. Is anybody looking out to count just even out here? Let's see the answer. This is amazing. Oh, okay, on this one. This one won't pop up, so actually it's not counting twice, and somebody's being super exact, and are we doing double counting depending on the program? The wonderful story is 50 on a regular basis, what we would consider regularly attending, 55 children and youth coming to. So let's give a hand. And we know a big piece of that, and she would be so humble and deflect it. Tiffany's been a big piece of that, probably the key piece of that. But at the end of the day, so many other parents, and not necessarily, doesn't have to be parents, it's anybody who loves children and wants to help in their development. A lot of folks have been a part of that. And again, I think it's a great example of doing what God calls us to do, and not putting that on just one or two people, but really it being a mission of our church. Great question here. Looks like we're evenly torn over the real answer. 300% growth over the past 3 years. How awesome is that? And think about as busy as we are in this world. I mean, I don't think there's ever a time or a decade that we wouldn't say that now is even busier than it was in the time. So many competing priorities for kids, for the parents, for all of us individually, to be able to have that kind of growth and impact. And I tell you, what we've seen too is children bring the parents. So a lot of our growth over the past couple of years has been as a result of friends, the children and youth inviting their friends, and then ultimately parents coming along with them. So we will see a need truly with that growth, I think, in the coming year, to need to further support Tiffany with some help and funding some help to keep that wonderful impact going from a youth perspective. Everybody's already ahead, and yes, every one of these things, we have formal ways to get engaged. If you don't know how to, then the best thing you can do is just reach out to someone on the vestry. But for the most part, if you go to the website, go to Realm, and indicate your desire and need to help in a certain area, we will get you connected and enable that for you. So we're going to pause with that. We actually had many more questions there. How many people have enjoyed this online polling process? Great. I want to thank Brian King. He came up with the idea, had used it in a work environment before, but great to be able to sit here and think about it. It's something potentially we'll consider utilizing and leveraging other ways. But hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the meal and the fellowship. I'm going to ask a favor of everyone now. Again, we always have opportunities to serve in the real time. The tablecloths that we have here, if anybody's willing to take one, launder that, and bring it back to the church this coming week, be greatly appreciated. What's that? What? Oh, okay. So we've already got others here too. So even if it's just taking one or two and running those, but it'll be, so it's, Chuck, do you just want the ones here or also the table? It would be a great help if you could get all of those. Okay. 3 or 4 tablespoons in each bundle. So it's about, Yep. And you know what comes out of that too? I think so there is a to-do. You know why we have this continuous source of laundering opportunities? When you think about, again, how much we've been blessed with our facilities, over 150 different community events and groups that we were able to, lend our facilities to for them to be able to facilitate their gatherings. So, yes, at the end of the day, it creates some work, but I promise you it's much more value in the blessing that it creates there. I wanted to close. Okay, Brian?
Make sure to remind them about the more thorough survey.
Yes.
Please respond to that and share with that.
Yep. So Nancy blessed us last week with a wonderful sermon, and of course I'm saying this as you're standing up walking just to catch you. And for those that didn't hear it live, maybe didn't see it rebroadcast, but it was that theme of it's not that I have to, but that I get to. Y'all recall that from last week? And that's really sat with me over the past week as we've been preparing, and a lot of work has gone in just to preparing this meal. And Joy Marie, I don't even know if you mentioned or not, over 100 people that volunteered to help make the Tour de Saints happen. And if you think about it, with what Nancy had said, if we think about these opportunities as the chance to serve, the opportunity to serve, the blessing to be able to serve, it really does change the perspective. And yes, there's work sometimes. Yes, there's maybe some stress. There may be some tiredness involved with it. But the opportunity to engage in work that God is calling us to do, doing that with others that are doing it for the same reason, I think it's just it's the miracle and magic of God and that relationship we have with Him, that somehow or another that becomes energizing and recharging versus wearing you down. And we all know what it feels like to be worn out, whether it be from work or other commitments. But when you are able to engage and really feel like you're part of something that's doing God's work, it really is a miracle, I think, how that can charge you up and invigorate you. And we just thank you for all the time, all the effort that everyone has given to date, and just pray that, again, you will prayerfully consider over the next coming weeks as the additional communications come out around our giving program. Where is God calling you to support His church, our work collectively, from a time, talents, and a financial perspective? Because as we've already heard today, as you see in Realm, just wonderful opportunities and wonderful outcomes that we here at All Saints are creating together. So we will have next steps. There will be a more formal survey coming in the mail. Keep an eye on your mailbox, because we are sending a formal giving packet, a formal survey, different from last year. We're not going to do 4 separate surveys. It's just going to be one that you'll either be able to do in hard copy, have a link out to Realm or the website. But just as much as we ask you to prayerfully consider the sharing of your time and talents, also really put some time into that survey, because we will utilize that really to set our compass in terms of a focus going in for the next 12 months. So thank you all. Pray that you have a blessed day. Pray that this time here together was a blessing for all. For those going to the 11 o'clock service, see you there. Love you and appreciate everything you do.
Can we get the folks who are in the kitchen to just come out for a minute and say thank you?
Watch out, there's
Bring
Al.
them on out, come on.
You may not notice him with the hairnet on.
Come on, Jan. all the folks in the kitchen come out, say thank you for,
Jan,
yeah.
Al,
All right.
Tom
So there are
Bennett.
several that are in the dish room that won't come out. But anyway, thank you, Kevin. Thank you to your team. Thank you, Brian. And I get to go get ready for the 11:10 service.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.